Got a video on 410 shotguns today. Got two guns here. I've got a CBC single barrel and a Huglu over and under. This is the 103F model. So I've done a video before on the CBC. I'll put a link in the description below for that. So this is a nice reliable little gun. External hammer. It's got the button on the front of the trigger guard for opening it. It's the ejector model. The Huglu is a non-ejector, but that's fine, you can manage without that. So top lever opening, barrel selector and automatic safety catch. It's got nice walnut woodwork on it with good checkering for plenty of grip. The colour case hardening finish on it, it's a bit different. I quite like it. It looks a bit like you got finger marks all over the action, but that's how it's meant to look. So it's a bit different. And also this has got side plates as well, which makes it stand out a little bit more. You don't normally get side plates on a sort of budget gun, which is what this is really. It's got the colour case hardening on the catch for the fore end and the trigger guard as well. A little bit of light engraving on the trigger guard and the action, just around the edges. So both these guns have got 28-inch barrels. The Huglu's full and 3/4 chokes, and I think the CBC, I think that's just a full choke. So both nice lightweight guns for shooting. Being 410, they're very low recoil. And my plan is to go out and do a bit of pattern testing, because I've been clay pigeon shooting and it's quite tough going with a 410 as it is. And I just want to get a better idea of where the Huglu shoots mainly, just to see what the patterning is like and to compare the pattern between the CBC and the Huglu, just to compare the two really. So it's good fun shooting 410s. It's quite expensive though compared to 12 gauge shooting. This is what I'll be using in the video. I've got 3-inch Magnum cartridges, 18 gram, number 6 shot, fibre wads. So here's a spent one. They're good guns for rabbiting, nice lightweight. So I don't want to go through too many cartridges. As you can see, they're £8.55 for 25. So they're sort of 50% more expensive than 12 gauge shotgun cartridges. So here's a couple of 410 cartridges to compare to a 12 gauge. Quite a big difference in size. These are all number 6 shot. There's one 3-inch Magnum cartridge and a 2.5-inch 410 cartridge there. There's quite a difference when you shoot between the two. The measurement system on shotgun cartridges is, with the 410, it is 0.410 of an inch in diameter. The 12 bore, as with other bores of shotgun, is measured as in there's 12 spheres of lead that fit across the diameter of the bore that would go into a pound of lead. So 12 spheres of lead would make 1 pound from the 12 bore, with a 28 gauge being smaller, 28 spheres of lead, which corresponds to the diameter, make up a pound of lead, if that makes any sense. So it's a very old measurement system for shotgun cartridges. The 410, I'm guessing, is a newer caliber, not being measured as a bore for the size. And then you've got 9mm, the 9mm garden gun, which is the smallest shotgun you can get. So that must be a newer caliber as well. So you've got 9mm, 410, 28 bore, 20 bore, 16 bore, 12 bore, 10 bore, 8 bore, 4 bore. Those are the main ones that you hear about anyway. Shooting the Huglu first, top barrel. The top barrel is full choke and the bottom barrel is 3/4 choke. This is sort of an experiment I wanted to do anyway, so I decided to film it. Some of the footage is slightly dodgy, as you can see from the wind blowing my camera around on the stand. It's very windy and a bit drizzly, not the greatest conditions, but I wanted to get it done. So that's the pattern from the Huglu top barrel, 20 yards, so the shot's pretty spread out. The main concentration of the shot is within sort of 16 inches or so. There's quite a few sort of gaps between the shot as well. I haven't done much pattern testing in the past. I've done a little bit of pattern testing with the CBC 410 before, but that's it. Done it on one occasion, so I don't really know what to look for other than, you know, the obvious state of the pattern. But I do learn something from this shooting session anyway, regarding these two guns. So out with the CBC now. This is a really nice gun to shoot. So 20 yards with the CBC. And this is full choke again, but a much tighter pattern. Not quite sure what's going on there. I thought, you know, you'd think full choke would be full choke on them both, but there's obviously a big difference between the two here. This is a much tighter pattern, and it's quite a uniform, I call it, pattern as well. There aren't many sort of big gaps between the shot. Again, most of the shot within 16 inches, but very few shot outside of that area then. So the Huglu now, bottom barrel, 3/4 choke. Change the barrel selector. So slightly more open choke, but quite a similar result. It's not as uniform as the CBC, and I'm already seeing that the Huglu is shooting lower than the CBC, because I'm aiming at the centre of the paper for both guns. Back on the CBC again, and now I'm at 15 yards. Huglu, 15 yards. I should have shot the top barrel, but I fired the bottom barrel on the 3/4 choke. So not a totally fair comparison. So that was the 15 yards with both guns, the CBC on the left pattern, the Huglu on the right. So 5 yards closer, slightly tighter patterns. So there's the CBC on the left there, the wadding's hit right in the middle as well. Pattern's not exactly the same as the first time I shot the CBC, there's a couple of slight gaps there. I suppose every cartridge is slightly different. That's not a bad pattern from the Huglu. More open, but slightly more open choke. Although the full choke between the two is clearly different. Shooted a couple of cans now with the Huglu just for fun. First shot on this Coke can now, I'm aiming right at it. And it's a miss because this just goes to prove that it shoots low. It's shooting about a foot low really. So let's reload. Aim a bit higher on the can. So that's something to remember on clay pigeon shooting. You need a high point of aim and need to shoot a target that's not too far away with the Huglu, because the shot is opening up earlier. Not the case with the CBC, that's blasting the cans nicely. So that was a bit of fun there, shooting the two 410s just to compare where the shot was going on the patterns there. And I've got a better idea now of where the Huglu's shooting. It's clearly shooting low, and the pattern's opening up earlier than the 410 CBC. For shooting clays or targets in the future, I'll hopefully have a better idea of where my point of aim needs to be. That was 20 yards on an old steel dustbin. It's just gone through in a couple of places. And then I was wondering how this happened then, because there's loads of exit holes, but I forgot I did take one shot with it on its side, so it's been shot from the inside. And that was closer, so that was about 15 yards, and nearly every shot's gone through then. Just a few yards closer, and it's just got that extra bit of power to punch through the metal